Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be recapping our reviews from the month of October 2023. This video will feature three things: a discussion of our favorite coffee this month, as well as any honorable mentions, our upcoming coffee of the month, and anything else pertaining to this channel that we feel is worth discussing or addressing. So let's go ahead and get started with our honorable mentions. And as always, these are in order of when we reviewed them on this channel. And first up, we have the Karamo Wash Processed Ethiopia from Ilsa Coffee, based out of North Canaan, Connecticut. And I did see your guys' comments stating that they are no longer based out of Stamford, but rather North Canaan. So I wanted to take this opportunity to update that information in this video. But this is a coffee that's actually received some mixed feedback from you guys, with some of you really enjoying it, while others weren't quite as high on it. And that's a perfect opportunity for a little bit of a disclaimer in this month's reviews, as this felt like a little bit of a down month for me, as none of the coffees that we're going to be discussing from this past month's reviews will likely make it in our top 10 coffees of the year list. That being said, there were some coffees that we're going to be highlighting today that I very much enjoyed, including this one right here, as I enjoyed it for a lot of the reasons that I typically enjoy wash processed Ethiopian coffees. That's because it offered some really nice clarity, florality, sweetness, as well as a nice fruit profile to it. And all of those things were offered in significant abundance, enough to a point where it was a little bit of a standout relative to what might have been a little bit of a down month in terms of overall coffee reviews. So I enjoyed this one. A lot of people enjoyed this one, and that kind of put Ilsa back on the map for me, as the last two reviews we'd had of their coffee before this one weren't necessarily the best. So it goes to show that sometimes revisiting a coffee roaster and giving them another opportunity might surprise you a little bit, and this one did exceed my expectations ever so slightly. This is the only coffee we're discussing here today that is no longer available. Next up, we have the Worka Sakaro, the wash processed Ethiopia from Onibus Coffee out of Tokyo, Japan. And that was an in-coffee shop review, so I don't have a bag of that coffee, but that is part of our Japanese coffee review series that is still continuing to this moment. So that's one of the coffees and coffee shops I did want to highlight from that series, as that one was another really nice wash processed Ethiopian coffee, and one of the best wash processed Ethiopian coffees I have had from a coffee shop in a long time, as that one had tremendous clarity to it, tremendous sweetness, and for a coffee roaster that I'd heard a lot about and had actually tried before but had yet to revisit for many years, it was really nice to go back and visit their coffee shop in person and have an opportunity to try one of their coffees directly from them, as that one far exceeded the expectations I had had for it going into it. In addition to that, I really wanted to highlight that shop, as the baristas there were so nice and offered so many great tips and insights into the Japanese coffee scene, especially for Tokyo. So I wanted to give them massive credit, as they did a great job with that coffee, as well as all of the information that they had provided, which does actually transition into the next coffee I wanted to discuss, which is the Finca Sen Isidro, the wash processed Colombia from Sneet Coffee, which is also based out of Tokyo, Japan. And that's another coffee from our Japanese coffee review series, and one that I very much enjoyed, as Sneet, I feel like, is definitely a sleeper within the Tokyo coffee scene, as that one also far exceeded my expectations, and the barista there was also super nice. The coffee shop itself was one of the more unique and nicer designed coffee shops. And I'd mentioned in those videos that we'd received a lot of requests not to record inside of the coffee shops, and I was very fortunate to have somebody that explained to me that there was a note stating, please don't take video inside of that coffee shop. So that's one of the reasons I didn't take video inside there. But I do have to say that it's a very nicely designed coffee shop, and does seem to be in line with a lot of the modern coffee trends in general. And that's a coffee shop and a coffee roaster that really stood out to me, not just because I really enjoyed that Colombian coffee, which did offer some very lively and enjoyable pink Bourbon characteristics, but in addition to that, you could tell that they were a very modern coffee roaster based off the coffees that they were offering. And that's a little bit of a sneak peek into a coffee that we're going to be reviewing from them here in the near future, and one I'm very excited to discuss. So definitely keep an eye out for this coffee roaster and the review that we have coming up from them in the future. Both that one and the Worka Sakaro are still available for purchase. And that takes us into my favorite coffee this month, which is the Nyanjuki AB, the wash processed Kenya from Nomad Coffee, based out of Barcelona, Spain. And Nomad is a coffee roaster that I hadn't necessarily had the best results with going into that review. With that being said, this one far exceeded my expectations for it, as it offered a lot of the Kenyan characteristics that I look for when it comes to those Kenyan coffees, and that does include a wonderful candied sweetness to it right from the onset. Had absolutely no difficulty or issues working with this coffee for the entirety of the time that we were drinking it. This one right here, as I mentioned, a little bit of a disclaimer stating none of these coffees will make it into our top 10 coffees of the year list. That being said, this one is likely going to earn itself a spot in our honorable mentions list because of how nice this one was. Very clean, very candied, very enjoyable, offered so many of those characteristics that I look for a little bit more when it comes to those Kenyan coffees. This one surprisingly is still available, and even at the end of the year, I might kind of revisit and say, hey, maybe this could be an outside coffee that does finish in that top 10, maybe when I really think about things and when I kind of look back on the Kenyan coffees we'd reviewed. This one might earn itself a spot on that list. So massive credit to Nomad for this coffee. I really did enjoy this one quite a bit. And next is our upcoming coffee of the month, which is the Lissandro Kilkue, the wash process Colombia from Kurasu Coffee, based out of Kyoto, Japan. And this coffee was suggested to us by Zapperboy100. So shout outs to and thank you to Zapperboy100 for the suggestion. We had picked up this bag of coffee, as well as that Kinto tumbler, while we were out in Kyoto for our Kurasu review, so definitely stay tuned for that review. We'd also temporarily stopped taking suggestions and recommendations or voting on our coffee of the month while we were out in Japan, but all of those things will be returning in the month of November. And while we're on the topic of that trip, I did want to get some feedback from you guys, as we're about a third of the way through the series, and I wanted to know if you'd be interested in seeing us do a recap video at the end of the series, which could include a number of things like our favorite coffees, our favorite coffee shops, a discussion of a trip to Appleton's Gold, which we did not record video for, and our overall thoughts and impressions of the Japanese coffee scene. So let us know if that's a video that you would be interested in seeing us do. And last thing I wanted to discuss about that Japan trip was the SCA event, which is the reason we were in Japan in the first place. And we did record 2 videos without any audio, and they're both essentially walkthroughs of the event itself. The first took place at the main hall, and it was kind of a walkthrough of a lot of the booths. And the second was at the Coffee Village. And my thinking behind both of those was that we could do a voiceover and discuss some of the things we saw and experienced while we were at the event, including meeting the owner of Kurasu, funny enough, as well as some of the Panamanian Geisha producers and some of the experiences we had at the Coffee Village itself. So let us know if those are also some videos that you would be interested in seeing. Last thing I wanted to discuss in this recap video is completely unrelated to any of those things, and that is our upcoming Advent calendar pick. And I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anybody that we opted for the Cafe Box Advent calendar for the 4th time in a row, and it's exclusively because we've had such great success with the Advent calendar as a whole that I want to continue to make it a yearly tradition in which we do something with their Advent calendar. This year I'm thinking of going back to what we did a couple of years ago, which was a blind taste test series with all of their coffees. And the main reason for that is that we're still so far ahead in the videos that we've recorded. It would only make sense to do a shorter series in that and maybe not record as many videos. It's a little cumbersome and difficult to record 24 straight videos as we did last year. It just gets a little hectic, especially during the holiday season. And we had some great success with that blind taste test series. So let us know which of those 2 things you would prefer, or if there's another Advent calendar. But regardless, already purchased the Cafe Box Advent calendar, and I'm sure a lot of you are also interested in purchasing it and either seeing some reviews or a blind taste test series on that one as well. I'm going to leave this video at that. That's a lot of information, a lot of feedback that I need from you guys, so just let me know. If you guys are enjoying the content, give this video a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a recap of our reviews from the month of October 2023. Thank you for watching.